got a confession. I didn't want the world to know about this little secret. See it as some sort of curse. Really dangerous. Hey, look at me!
So you probably already know about Dave's big secret, but what if I told you that Dave had an even bigger secret? What if there was something you didn't know, you hadn't seen, and had purposefully been hidden from you, because it was something so awful that it might completely change the way that you ever think of Dave again? It goes without saying that most people who watch this video probably already know of the famous music legend Dave Grohl. You probably know of his drumming role within Nirvana and more recently the Foo Fighters, Dave's own project which made its way into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You've probably also seen the charity photos of Dave feeding the homeless, the stories of Dave being the nicest guy in rock and roll, and the never-ending applause for Dave's kindness.
Just stop by and do a quick concert to raise a little money for the people.
Well, truth be told, I've actually known about this secret for a while, and I really wanted to make this video, but I was actually too scared of the backlash that I would get because of Dave's perfect persona. But now that his other secret is out, well, it's time to expose this man even further. So heads up, if you really love Dave Grohl and you really admire him and you think the world of him, you might want to stop watching right now if you don't want to shatter that illusion. Or you might want to watch on if you really want to know the truth. So the horror story starts in the mid-90s. Dave's bandmate tragically dies, leaving Nirvana no more. Dave decides to embark on a new project, a fresh band that would feature his own songs and allow him to progress and show the world what he had to offer as a songwriter as well as a musician. After asking Chris, his former bandmate from Nirvana, if he would like to join him again as a bassist, Grohl decided to recruit Nate Mendel instead, as it would feel less weird for the rest of the band. However, recruiting Nate would actually lead Dave to making one of the biggest mistakes of his career. In fact, probably the biggest mistake of his life. Now, despite not knowing this at the time, it's for sure that Dave knows this now, as what I'm about to tell you has all been scrubbed from Dave's public persona. It isn't even mentioned in any of the band's biographies, nor even common knowledge within the modern day Foo Fighters fandom. I've been a Foo Fighters fan myself for years, and I hadn't even heard of this myself until one day I was idly browsing Reddit and someone asked the question, "What's your controversial opinion or hot take about Dave?" To which I read a couple of comments, and then completely froze when I saw that whole HIV denial thing was pretty fucking bad, to which I almost spurted out my drink. I'm sorry, what? Yes guys, that's right. Your favourite hero, the nicest guy in rock, Dave Grohl, was an AIDS denier. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg that actually leads to over 300,000 deaths. So before we get into this, the thick of this, let's just have a quick look exactly at what AIDS is. Because it's a very serious topic and it's something that maybe not everyone here knows much about. And then we'll go on and have a look at how the Foo Fighters actually contributed to the mass death of HIV patients. So HIV, according to the official Centers for Disease Control and Prevention website, what is HIV? HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, is a virus that attacks the body's immune system. If HIV is not treated, it can lead to AIDS, which is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. There is currently no effective cure. Once people get HIV, sadly they have it for life. But with proper medical care, HIV can be controlled. People with HIV who get effective HIV treatment can live long, healthy lives and protect their partners. How do I know if I have HIV? The only way to know if you have HIV is to get tested. Knowing your HIV status helps you make healthy decisions to prevent getting or transmitting HIV. So what does this all have to do with Dave? Well, you see, in 1995, a new AIDS organisation was founded by, and I believe it's pronounced, Christine Maggiore, who tested HIV positive in 1992. This organisation was called Alive and Well. Christine wrote a book called What If Everything You Thought You Knew About AIDS Was Wrong?, which made its way into the hands of Nate, Dave's bassist. Nate read the book and, well, he absolutely loved it for some reason. And it wasn't long before the whole group were actually on board to support this organisation. And it was then that they began a long period of promoting and working with Alive and Well. Now, because this has been so swept under the carpet by the Foo Fighters and Dave Grohl, I will be using this video to refer to quite a bit, as it is one of the only examples of video footage of them performing with Christine. You can find the video on YouTube, that's what you want to search, and I will be using it as a reference in the video's description box too. But I'm not really a fan of the humour in that video. I think it's a bit tasteless, and I think, to be honest, it's not the greatest video, but it's what we've got to work with. This footage was actually used in an Alive and Well promotional video.
I think that most people have been sort of force-fed the idea of a death sentence. Are you afraid of AIDS?
Am I afraid of AIDS? No. Because I'm here with Alive and Well.
So are you afraid of AIDS, Taylor?
This is making me not so afraid, actually.
The problem was that Alive and Well was actually one of the most dangerous AIDS denial conspiracy groups going. Despite being HIV positive herself, Christine denied that HIV causes AIDS. Now, her denial and refusal to treat her HIV actually horrifically led to the death of her own 3-year-old daughter after she did not take antiviral medications during her pregnancy, and she did not have her daughter tested for the virus after birth. She actually barely escaped felony charges for this in 2006 after being investigated by Los Angeles police for negligence. Now, if that wasn't a bad enough reason for you to decide in your brain that this woman is atrocious and Dave Grohl should be having nothing to do with her, here are some of the dangerous beliefs that the group actually helped to promote. Although there is extensive scientific evidence to the contrary, that's right, extensive scientific evidence, Alive and Well AIDS Alternatives promoted the viewpoint that HIV was not the cause of AIDS. The organisation also expressed the viewpoints that HIV tests are inaccurate. AIDS is not a major problem in Africa. Pregnant women should not take antiviral medication to prevent HIV transmission to their children. AIDS actually results from malnutrition, mental stress, AZT, and recreational drug use amongst gay men, as well as other causes. The mainstream scientific community's efforts to promote AIDS awareness and develop effective treatments are examples of fear-mongering and are compromised by the ties to the pharmaceutical industry. Now let's have a little look at how the Foo Fighters helped to promote those dangerous ideas. So what did they do? Well, the Foo Fighters actually placed a big banner to promote Alive and Well on their official website homepage. They took them on as their official charity of choice, and they even organised a benefit concert in Hollywood in January of 2000, where they were so kind as to actually give out free copies of Christine's book. And in between songs, Christine encouraged AIDS patients to throw away their medication as she shouts, "I'm living in perfect health without AIDS medications." According to the Wayback Machine, which you can access to if you don't believe me, the Foo Fighters continued to be vocal about being associated with Alive and Well as HIV deniers right up until at least February the 7th, 2002. Now, it may have existed longer than that, but that's as far as I could find it. You're welcome to go on the Wayback Machine and have a look yourself. So that is evidence that they at least promoted and worked with this organisation for at least 2 years. Perhaps one of the worst things to result from this, though, is that it has actually been suggested that after being personally received by the South African president Thabo Mbeki, Christine is actually believed to have been one of the main influences which caused Mbeki to deny the link between HIV and AIDS, resulting in the banning of the drugs in public hospitals, and to also reject grants, actions which have been said to result in, are you ready for it, over 330,000 unnecessary deaths. Let's look at that again. Over 330,000 unnecessary deaths were potentially helped by the Foo Fighters promoting and encouraging people to give financial help to Alive and Well. Get this, but not only that, but on their official website message board, according to the Mother Jones magazine article of February the 25th, 2000, the Foo Fighters promoted a message written by Alive and Well that stated, "HIV is not spread sexually, nor is it the cause of any disease." And it wasn't just one promotional video that the Foo Fighters were featured in. They were also in 2 other AIDS denial movies. Now, the first one is a documentary called House of Numbers, Anatomy of an Epidemic. And a brief description of the movie is, the film argues that human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, is harmless and does not cause acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS, a position known as AIDS denialism. The film's claims have been widely rejected by scientists, and the film's claims about HIV and AIDS have been dismissed as pseudoscience and conspiracy theory masquerading as even-handed examination. Now, I'm going to be honest, I found out about this through a fiberglass article that I will show on the screen right now. But when I went to the IMDb page, I couldn't actually find Dave or the Foo Fighters or Nate's name within the film's credits. Now, I don't know if something's been done to scrub that. Money, maybe? I don't know. But what I did find, because unfortunately I can't find the film, if any of you can find the film, please watch it and let me know in the comments below if he definitely is in it. But I did see in the review section of this film that someone left the comment, "Today I learned that the Foo Fighters are AIDS deniers." So you can only assume that they watched the film and then said this. Now, may I point out that this film was made in 2009. That is 7 years after the disappearance of the banner from the website. Dave is also credited as himself in the controversial 2004 documentary The Other Side of AIDS on IMDb, to which they also lent part of their music to the soundtrack. Now, I want to draw your attention to the fact that there are people on the internet who are arguing against Dave's involvement with this, as it is important to look at things from both points of view. However, this person argues that this is very much driven by Nate, and I would agree, that seems very true. Nate was the one who read the book. Even the banner, it says, as placed by request of Nate Mendel. However, he argues that the others thought at the time that it was just an AIDS benefit show, and it caused serious tension in the band when the story started being painted as them as AIDS denialists, because they weren't in the picture about the nature of the event. However, the problem with this is, as we can see from the release info on IMDb, this documentary was first released on September the 24th, 2004. Now that is 4 years after the AIDS benefit concert. So if Dave wasn't happy with being connected to AIDS denialist charities and didn't know that that was happening, why on earth would he give permission for himself and his music to be featured in another AIDS denial documentary in 2004, 4 years later? Along with Christine in the documentary, of course, the documentary blames AIDS deaths on negative thinking. God, this is so bad. A fatalism, they say, which is encouraged by support groups. Several also blame AIDS on the gay lifestyle. Oh God, this is so bad, man. The Other Side of AIDS was reviewed in Verity and briefly in The Hollywood Reporter. Verity concluded that what's the weakest point is its tendency to place the blame exclusively on homosexual behavior. Guys, I feel like I do not need to tell you how bad this is. It's really not right and pretty horrible that this film was even made. To be honest, pretty shameful that Dave Grohl led his voice and his music to it. So that's 3 different times that Dave Grohl was happy to appear on camera to help AIDS denial and even lend the Foo Fighters music to. It may have been Nate who found the book, but Dave certainly seemed more than happy to also involve himself numerous times in this AIDS denialism. And let's not forget that the Foo Fighters is Dave's band. Nothing's going to go past Dave's approval to be allowed on the website and stuff like this. So you cannot just pass this blame on to Nate and say that this was Nate's fault, because Dave clearly, he read this and he agreed with this as well, and he was happy to go along with this for quite a few years. Now, it was also estimated in 2005 that the organisation had assisted about 50 HIV positive mothers into developing legal strategies to avoid having their children tested or even treated for HIV. Despite Christine's chants in between the Foo Fighters hits at that gig, she did not continue to live in perfect health, and she actually died herself from complications from AIDS in 2008. A doctor who knew of the family actually said that her death could have been preventable with just the use of the medication that Christine had protested so heavily against using. So why was it bad of Dave to help promote this organisation? Whilst I don't really feel like I need to answer that, perhaps there are naysayers who want to know the answer, and I'll give you the answer. Well, let alone the insane number of deaths that were caused by Christine's dangerous misinformation, Christine had also said that many Foo Fighters fans had contacted her after the show, and one even went on to work in the Live and Well office. Now, the Foo Fighters were met with bad press at the time, when in February 2000, so I mean this was about 24 years ago, no wonder it's been sort of erased from the public consciousness. Diane Tanaka, a physician who worked with HIV-affected youth at LA's Children's Hospital, told Mother Jones magazine, "The Foo Fighters have a big responsibility in terms of their public role and the impact that they can have on young people." And it's true, when asked once, Nate did respond with, "I'm absolutely confident that I'm doing the right thing." And he also said, "No, I wouldn't feel responsible for possibly harming somebody. I feel I'm doing the opposite," according to Medium.com.
So I'm curious how Foo Fighters got involved in this.
Christine wrote a book. What if everything you thought you knew about AIDS was wrong? And I found the book and read it.
Now, we have no idea or way of truly knowing exactly how much money was donated to Alive and Well because of the Foo Fighters' promotion and endorsement. One day, the banner was just deleted from the website. Poof, like magic, gone. And since then, not surprisingly, there's been absolutely no mention of any of this. No apology, no retractment, which means that, in my opinion, there's potentially old Foo Fighter fans out there who will still support this organisation and their dangerous beliefs because of their connection and knowledge of them because of the Foo Fighters. Now, it's estimated that there were approximately 39 million people across the globe living with HIV in 2022, according to statistics from UNAIDS, and tens of millions of people have died from AIDS-related causes. I'm sorry, but I can't help but feel like these people are owed an apology, at the very least, from the damage that the Foo Fighters caused during the 2000s. Since then, Dave has been in support of Elton John's AIDS Foundation, so it appears as if he must have changed his views, at least you would hope, but with no personal mention or apology of his foolish past anywhere. How can any fan really know that for sure? If he just sweeps this moment in the band's history under the carpet because of the damage it may cause to his reputation, he's potentially leaving old fans to still believe and support AIDS denial groups because of the responsibility that he took in introducing fans to these views in the first place. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't really believe in cancel culture. I think sometimes the punishment doesn't actually fit the crime. And I think that all of us have done stupid things at some point in our lives. But have all of us made mistakes this big? Oh, I don't know. So please, Dave, if you really are such a nice guy, it's time to do the right thing and apologise for this, so that any fans that you so publicly encourage to support this horrendous organisation can withdraw their support too. It is time that you took responsibility and addressed this. No matter how much money you throw at charities, or how many photos you take with your fans, you can't just scrub away the after effects of spreading dangerous misinformation that actually cost hundreds of thousands of lives. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider taking a moment to donate to one of the AIDS charities available on screen. I can't say which one is best, so please take a moment to research them before making your donation. Doing so can really help the sufferers and families of people with AIDS. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing.